Hi there. Welcome to Coffee with Candy. I am beginning a brand new series within my YouTube channel called Coffee with Candy. And I've been praying about it, and I feel like God would like me um, to change up my YouTube channel a little bit. I had begun the channel to share with friends and family back in California about our life here on the homestead, because it is very different from the life that we came from in California. But over time, it's evolved a little bit. If you followed my channel very closely, you'll know that a couple of my kids have had dreams, and I've shared those dreams on this channel. I might have shared a couple of songs from my daughter who likes to sing. I have children that were born to me, and I have children that were adopted from out of the country, and I have children that were adopted from within the country. And this is a little bit of an introduction to me. And I have experienced some supernatural events in my life, and I just wanted to share them with you because I'm excited about what God has done in my life and what God is doing in my life. But I also really want to encourage you all to have the freedom to be able to share some of your experiences. I think sometimes we experience supernatural events or occurrences in our lives because God loves us, but then we don't really share them because we feel like it's weird or it's out of the ordinary. And maybe by my sharing my experience, it will encourage you to reflect on your own life and see how God's been working it in your life. And you could be bold enough to maybe tell somebody about your experience as well. I think that God works in our lives far more than what we have given him credit for. And I think that if you were to reflect, you would see how much God works in our lives beyond, you know, more than just coincidence, far more. And I would like you to share in the comments if you have any experiences, supernatural experiences. I'll give you opportunities to do that. And I've had a lot, and I feel that God is wanting me to tell you all that the supernatural should be natural. And instead of looking at it from a kind of a sideways glance or, oh, that person is weird, we should embrace everybody's experiences and maybe pray into it and say, God, I didn't know that you could work in that way, or I didn't know that you could speak in that way. Too often we limit God. And I think that he wants us to recognize the ways that he works in our lives. So I want to start off by telling you one of the experiences that I had several years ago. My husband had given me, for my birthday, my 50th birthday, many years ago, he gave me a red Ford Mustang. And it was a very generous and very loving gift. And it meant a lot to me, not just because he knew that I had always wanted a Mustang, but also it just meant a lot to me that he went to all that sacrifice to buy me such a nice present for my 50th birthday. And a few months later, I was driving with my daughter, who was learning how to drive, and we came to what she thought was a four-way stop. We were practicing in that vehicle. We had another vehicle we could have been practicing in, but that vehicle wouldn't have been acceptable for the DMV. I think it had a crack in the windshield or something like that, and I knew that she wouldn't be able to use it for her actual test. So we were practicing in my Mustang because it was kind of perfect. Anyway, we came up to this four-way stop, which ended up being, actually, it was only a two-way stop, and it was in a like a quiet neighborhood where there were no yellow or white dotted lines down, because the streets were a little bit more narrow than that. So it was a quiet neighborhood, so people weren't traveling really fast, 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. There wasn't a lot of traffic. In any case, we came to this four-way stop, and there was a truck approaching on the right side. And the truck was, I remember it being a red truck, and it was being driven by a man, and there was nobody else in the vehicle with him, and he had dark hair, and as that truck approached, my daughter thought that he was going to stop because she thought it was a four-way stop. And so after we had stopped, she continued through the stop sign, but it wasn't a four-way stop. It was only a two-way stop. And so, of course, the truck didn't stop either. And I feared that we were going to crash. In fact, I knew it was inevitable that we were going to crash. And everything happened in slow motion, and the vehicle to the right of me, past us. And as it did, I looked at that man's eyes, and I saw him. I was sitting in the passenger side. I saw him, and he didn't look at us at all. It was almost as though he didn't see us. And my daughter realized that he wasn't going to stop, and she pressed on the gas really fast just so she could, finish going through the intersection, which in my mind, in that split second, everything happened so fast. I knew that she should have stopped and maybe he would have swerved. But instead, the weirdest thing happened. It was almost as though we went through each other. Like, I didn't see his vehicle inside our vehicle or anything, but we didn't collide. And as I looked over my shoulder, he continued driving after we were on the other side of the intersection. It was the weirdest thing. It was definitely supernatural. And I knew at that moment that it was supernatural. My daughter, I don't know that she recognized that it was supernatural because she was so traumatized about us almost crashing and her ruining my birthday gift, my new car. It wasn't new, but it was new to me. And so she was so traumatized that I don't know that she recognized what happened, but I definitely did. That we should have collided and we didn't collide. And the vehicle, here's what I think, because I don't fully understand everything that happens in the supernatural, but I've heard people talk about how time and space can be bent. And I think that was an experience in which time and space was bent. I also believe that we have guardian angels, and I think that our guardian angels protect us. I absolutely do. I don't pray to my guardian angel. I don't talk to my guardian angel. I allow God to use my guardian angel for our benefit and for his glory. So that's just one example. I have others that I'll share in different episodes, but I just wanted to share that as a first example of something supernatural that happened to me. And if anything similar has happened to you, can you comment down in the comment section? Because I think that I'm not the only one that something like that has happened to. Now, I have many supernatural experiences that I want to share with you in further episodes that are far different from this one. Each one is a little bit different. So if you have a supernatural experience, of course, comment. I love to hear about it. But I'm specifically asking for those of you who might have had a situation where time and space was bent, and maybe you were similar to me in where you should have gotten in an accident and you didn't. Whatever it might be, share that experience so that I know that I'm not the only one, but also so that those that are watching will also realize, hey, God cares about us, and these things are definitely supernatural. All right, we'll see you next time.